What's up, fantasy football people? Welcome back to the Fantasy Football channel. We are the Schluter Bros. Today we are deep diving to America's team. What's up, Jerry Jones? Adam, how you doing today? Lake mode full over there?
Oh, you betcha. It's lake mode o'clock right now. We're hitting the lake this weekend. How you doing?
Oh, it's also vacation time. We got vacation clothes on. This is great.
Can't beat it. Folks, we are headed to Dallas. You heard it first. We're starting out today with a blast segment to kick us off, talking some fantasy football news, 2025 fantasy predictions for all the players out
Fantasy
there.
Fanny.
Struggler. That's tough out the gates. Finish with the O line. Finish with some draft picks. So head on over to the Black Swan Saloon. Grab yourself a whiskey, a margarita, or a Jerry Jones Classic, some Johnny Walker Blue, and let's get it.
Roger that. Let's get that Fanny in this show today. All right. That first segment, we're going to jump right in.
Yes,
Adam, we're going to
sir.
make some bold, fun predictions here for week one. Uh, week one, which running back has over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns?
We are going to give that to Bijan Robinson and Derrick Henry.
You're going to get both. Wow.
Absolutely.
I believe they have tough matchups. I think Bijan plays Tampa Bay week one.
I wish I would have known that before I said that, but we're sticking with it. I still believe in them.
All right.
Throwing it back to you.
I'm going Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Healthy Christian. That'll be good for everybody, at least for owners of them.
I think it'll be a welcome back party for him week one.
All right. All right. I like that.
Go ahead on the next one.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, and Kyle, which diva goes off for more than 200 yards?
I'm actually going to go Malik Neighbors. They play the Commanders, and I think Commanders are going to get up big quick, and I think he's just going to get a ton of garbage yards.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go out of left field on this one. Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna shut up the doubters early and often out there.
Okay. Next one. Which QB throws for 4 TDs?
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, for me, it's Jaden Daniels against the Giants week one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That seems like a no-brainer.
I like that. Let's go. Let's go with a little Lambo favorite and Jordan Love.
Wow, that's a bold prediction.
That's what I'm all about today.
All right. Last one, hit me.
Who is the biggest Week 1 surprise player in this season?
Week one, I think Xavier Worthy is going to have a monster game without Rashee Rice.
Well, that's funny because I was going to say it's definitely not going to be Rashee Rice or Judkins.
Yep.
More of that for sure.
All right, let's get into some news. Mike Williams recently went on the pup. Now he retires. So a little too old to hang, I guess. He officially announced retirement from the NFL.
Yeah.
Why don't you hit the next one?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Williams constantly injured, so his body's probably sore. It needs a rest. I don't blame him for that move. In bigger news, the man, TJ Watt, got paid 3-year, $123 million contract, which makes him the highest non-paid quarterback in NFL history. Kudos to this man, fresh out of Wisconsin. Absolutely love it. You get that bag, my man.
Yep. Kudos to him. That's a huge contract for a defensive player.
Yes, it is.
Okay, last one I got. Rashee Rice has received 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time for his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. The NFL will now expedite its disciplinary process, and he is likely to be suspended.
How many weeks do you think they're going to put him out for?
I say 4 weeks. And, I mean, he's also coming off the knee injury, so I mean, I wasn't expecting him to be 100% at the beginning of the season anyway. So you might as well just give him that suspension there and let him heal up a little.
Right, it's just like a guaranteed pup. You just keep resting that knee, keep getting ready for it. Yeah, that's about right. 30
Okay.
days of jail. 30 days of jail. Hopefully he gets to work out at a high price facility in there though.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Why don't you break down Dallas Cowboys and how they stunk it up last year?
Yes, they did. Third in the NFC East, finished with a record of 7-10. Total offense, 17th overall, 327 total offensive yards per game. Rushing wise, boy, was that not pretty, you guys. 100 rushing yards per game and 6 total rushing touchdowns. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Saquon or
That's
Bijan would have done
ugly.
that in 2 weeks. In passing, 11th overall, 227 passing yards per game, 23 total passing touchdowns. And for the Cowboys, their Vegas win-loss odds here is at 7.5. You taking the over or under on that?
I'm going to take the over, but I
Oh,
would say 8.
okay. Okay.
So I think with Dak, a healthy season with Dak, they beat their 7 wins from last year. I would definitely take that.
Yeah, I get that. I get that for sure. However, going against Eagles and Commandos, that's probably 4 L's right there for
Yeah,
how
they're
poor their
division
defense played.
games. I could see the Cowboys sneaking 1 or 2 of those out.
All right. All right.
Their defense will be the big question there. For fantasy, I don't think that matters a whole lot. I think either way, this is a passing fantasy offense that you want parts of, and rushing you don't want parts of.
I'll agree with that.
Okay, you ready to get into the meat and potatoes here, the fantasy football boys?
It's go time, baby. Let's do it.
Mr. Dak, welcome back. We hope you are healthy. He only played the first 8 games last year and then had a season-ending injury. During those first 8 games, he threw for almost 2,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 8 picks. Really didn't do anything with his legs. This year, ESPN 2025 projections are 4,300 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and then 2 touchdowns with his legs, basically.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
His current ESPN projections are QB 13, so he's just outside that top 12 quarterback for a lot of those 12-team drafts, one quarterback, and ADP of 91 overall.
Yes, sir. I mean, 2 years ago, 2023, he had a phenomenal year. He finished in the top 10, might even been top 5. So not only just 2 years ago, he was a great quarterback and he can chuck the ball. Him being fully healthy and with a new weapon on that team, I can see him easily finishing as a top 10 quarterback and beating this projection of a 13 overall projection or prediction.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the best duo at wide receiver he's had since Amari Cooper days with Cooper and CD. So we'll see what CD and Pickens can do. It's a lot better than Michael Gallup, Cole Beasley, some of these other scrubs he's had as his number 2 wideout. He's got a little bit more flash out there. And the one downside of Dak is his rushing is going nothing but downhill, and it's basically going to be non-existent, especially 31, about to be 32 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a little higher. I have him at quarterback 11 right now. I think a full season, healthy CD, addition of George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. I think that's enough. And I think the run game is bad enough where I think he's still going to get a lot of volume.
Yeah, he's going to get a ton of. I think he throws for over 600 attempts this year. That's how they're building the offense. That's how they're structuring this team. So he's definitely going to chuck the ball a lot. And that's kind of how they're orchestrating the offense between the players and the coaching staff, from what it seems like.
So the question is, one QB league. Are you happy with him as your main quarterback?
If he is my main quarterback, I want a close second. For one main reason of he's coming off that injury, and just because you can get him in a later round in a normal league, right? So you can get him in a later round. So if that's the case, and you stack up on RBs and wide receivers, get another close quarterback with him just in case, heaven forbid, something happens, or just in case he's not as good as he used to be, because that's a long time away from the field. So if he's in there, I'm fine with it. And I think he can do great and be a top 10 quarterback, but I'd like to have a quick insurance card if needed, just to protect it from ruining your whole season, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts there?
I'm in a similar camp. I mean, I think if the rest of my roster was pretty stacked, I would be happy. I would be okay with him being my quarterback one out of the draft in a one quarterback league. If I had a backup, I also really liked, guys I would think of would be like maybe like a Justin Fields
Okay.
or, maybe a Mahomes or one of those guys that, can also have high potential, I would say.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd feel good about that. Two QB leagues. Obviously, he's would be a star as a QB2 or in your super flex.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that would be amazing. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
honestly, with hit where he is currently being drafted, like that could happen.
Yep. Last thing I'll say, out of the past 5 seasons, he's missed multiple games with it in 3 of those seasons. So there is
Yep.
some injury proneness there. But when he's healthy and when he's out there, he's usually balling and chucking the ball. If he stays healthy this year, I expect over 4,000 yards and over 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think his touchdowns are actually a little low,
Yeah.
especially with who they have at running back and with the weapons in the offense. I think those guys, I think that's easily over 30 touchdown projection this year.
Yeah. And they project him at 14 picks as well. So I think they're expecting him to
I
have
mean,
some
he's going to
rust.
throw some picks. He'll throw some picks.
They're expecting some rust early and often with that.
Yeah.
But 14, I mean, that's almost won a game there. That's a lot.
After this injury, though, do you still think he's going to do his big hip warm up?
I hope they get that out of the rotation. Or
If you guys haven't seen that, you got to check out Dak's warm ups. It's a big hip thrust.
yeah, he gets some movement out there. I'm sure the ladies love it.
All right. Anything else on Dak?
I think it's diva time.
All right. Ceedee Lamb. I'm very excited about Ceedee Lamb this year. His
Yeah.
current projections are wide receiver 3. He finished as Diva 9 last year, and that's with Cooper Rush throwing to him half the season. ADP 6 overall. I actually have him as wide receiver 2. I like him ahead
Over
of
Mr. Jefferson.
Jefferson. Yep. That's how I like it this year.
And why do you feel that way?
I think Dak's a much more proven quarterback in an offense that's going to need to throw compared to JJ over there for Jefferson.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just to echo what you said, it's something that is just mind-boggling to me. He finishes as wide receiver number 8 with Cooper Rush throwing to him, and he was injured with his shoulder a couple weeks. That is
Missed 2
extremely
weeks.
impressive.
Yep.
There's barely any receivers in the NFL outside of the top 3 that could probably finish that high with Cooper Rush throwing to him. And I was impressed because he had that shoulder injury and he came back for it, and he played a couple weeks when their season was already over. So I actually give Ceedee Lamb a lot of credit because if I were him, I probably wouldn't have played. I probably would have rested my body and made sure I didn't get injured for the following season because we already knew that season was done. So I give him a lot of respect with how he finished and with how he came back, and he finished the season when he probably didn't otherwise have to. So kudos to him on that. I do agree with you that he finishes better than Jefferson just due to Dak being there and Jefferson having that question mark with J.J. McCarthy. I mean, with J.J. McCarthy, it's an unproven quarterback who didn't throw the ball a lot in college. It's not like he played in the SEC and chucked the ball 50 times a game. He played for a run-heavy offense. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, CD, absolute stud. Can't wait to see how he finishes with a full season with Dak there. And then more importantly, this is the first time he's had a true Robin with him in that Batman and Robin scenario with George Pickens across from him. My first question is, do you think George Pickens being there helps or hurts CD's fantasy value?
I think it helps the offense. It helps Dak Prescott. CD, it's kind of in between where he'll get it'll see what defense will do for coverage wise. So I think the downside is I could see George Pickens getting some of those touchdowns thrown his way. So I could see that hurting. But I think if the offense is good enough, I don't know that it matters a whole lot. And you want to own pieces of good offenses. And this is one that I only see them being good throwing the ball. They've done a lot to get themselves to be better in the run, but I still don't like it. But I like it through the air.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and the last thing I'll say about CD is this is the first time in a long time he has not had undivided attention staring at him from a defensive scheme standpoint. You know what I mean? Kind of like echoing what we're saying with Pickens being there. The last multiple years, it's shut down CD and double him, and they may not be able to do that every week. So that's really going to open up some potential there.
Yeah, he's been the one-man show in the receiving room over there. The guys around him, I mean, they've done nothing.
Yep. And if you see these two guys, I love it. They are all over each other in terms of giving each other love and respect on interviews. They're like, I love having my boy here. We're helping each other. They have some camaraderie, it seems like, and it seems
I
pretty
like that.
genuine.
I like
Yeah.
that
So it's,
culture. I hope they both
yep.
have a great year. And I think
Yep.
honestly behind Chase and Higgins, like I think this is the next best possibly wide receiver duo in the NFL. As we go
Ooh.
through each team, this is up there. We'll have to go through each team and have their projections and stuff, but this is one of the top ones in my opinion, especially talent wise. Like George Pickens, no doubt is a elite talent. He's just never been able to put it all together for other reasons. Bad
Absolutely.
quarterback play, mentally, his development, those types of things.
Well, since you brought it up, let's go right into Pickens here. Projected Diva, number 30, finished as wide receiver 41 in Pittsburgh last year. Current ADP is 70th overall. He's getting picked just after Judy, Waddle, Calvin Ridley, just before Hunter, Jennings, and Olave. Out of those six, where do you like him in there? Because I'll be honest with you, as I say this, I like him before all six of those players.
Yeah, I think I do too. I mean, the thing is it's a little unproven in this offense, so that there's a piece there that we don't know. We haven't seen it play out before.
Yep.
But we talked about Waddle, and there's also some uncertainty around him.
Yeah.
And I mean, the rookie and Hunter, I mean, no one knows exactly how that's going to play out, potentially playing both
Yep.
sides of the ball, etc.
Yep.
Jennings, I like him above Jennings. Olave, I like him above Olave. I don't think that's going to be a very good offense. Judy is the one that sticks out to me as I could see going either way on.
And we don't know who their quarterback is yet.
But last year, I don't think it mattered.
Well, that's
Judy
because you
still
had
outperformed.
last year with Judy, you had Winston chucking him the ball every play, not giving a crap about picks. So that's the difference there. They don't have that anymore. Now, it could be Flacco, it could be Shadur, who knows who it could be.
That's fair. I still
Let
like
me
them both. That's where I like them. I like those two
Okay.
guys right there above the rest of the ones we just mentioned.
Okay, that's fair. And like I said, I'd take him before all six of those, even though there are some number one wideouts in terms of on the team in front of him. But I like
Yep.
him in front of those guys. And let me tell you why. Last year he had over 16 yards per reception. So this guy is an absolute deep threat. He's a speed demon, and he can get up the field. In his previous years, he's always been a number one wide receiver in a run-heavy offense. That is never the best spot to be if especially when you're mentally not a leader and a captain and all that stuff. And on top of that, here's his quarterbacks: Mason Rudolph, Pickett, Justin Fields, and a slightly washed Russell Wilson. He is going from bottom tier garbage to a potential top 10 quarterback and a proven guy in Dak Prescott. So I absolutely love that. A big flaw with Pickens in the past statistically is he's not a big touchdown guy. So whether that's because it was a run-heavy offense in Pittsburgh or whatever that may be, but we're going to find out this year whose fault that was, whether that was Pickens' fault or Pittsburgh's fault. Because I think he had 3 touchdowns last year or something. Yeah, 3
That's
touchdowns
correct.
last year.
Yep.
That is abysmal. So if he can get that touchdown rate up to 8 or 10 and continue with that 16 yards per reception, we are talking some serious fantasy production there, which I'm excited to see if he can make that happen. And his theatrics and how he is kind of on the field, off the field, I kind of like it. It's entertaining. I don't know if organizations like it, but I find it to be entertaining and a little bit humorous.
Yeah, bit of character. But I like his, building that camaraderie with CD and the culture there. If that's a good fit, I think that would really help him excel. ESPN's currently got him projected for 117 targets, which is a lot. Any player, in my opinion, of that caliber in an offense like this, like that's going to produce.
If he gets 117 targets, that's over 1,000 yards for sure.
That's where
I mean,
they
it's
have him,
just
just over a
yeah.
thousand yards, 7 touchdowns. I mean, I could see that being 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I could see it. You'd probably be a little bit disappointing with the touchdowns from CD, but I think that could be in his range of outcomes. Otherwise, I do like where ESPN currently has him projected for his stats right now.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit of a value pick right there, right? A little bit of value pick for what we discussed. My question is though, in real-time drafts, with all the noise surrounding him on this new team and in this more high-powered passing attack, does that bump him up in drafts where he gets reached on very early in a lot of our drafts? What do you think there?
Yeah, it could. And then that's just where you don't get him. You know, it's just a probability of numbers game. I wouldn't reach for him. He's not a guy I would necessarily reach for. However, I did draft him in the Dynasty redraft, but I thought that was at a value spot. So
Yep.
if you can get him around his ADP, I'd say go for it.
Yep.
If you
And on
want to
the
take
flip
him a
side,
little early because you really want him because it's sexy, I don't mind that. But outside
yeah.
of that, I probably wouldn't.
Yep. And it's definitely a sexy pick. But on the flip side of that sexiness, there's a little bit of he's on a new team and he's on a team with the quarterback coming off a serious injury. So there's kind of a little bit of the darker side of this transition as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to price in a little bit of risk, but you can price in risk with anybody. I don't necessarily. Dak's missed games each season, sure, but I mean, so have a lot of other guys. So I don't know that that's as big of a risk as what you think it is.
Okay. Last question for you. The other number two receiver that's really talked about is obviously T. Higgins. Do you think there's a world where Pickens finishes better than T. Higgins this year?
A world, yes. Probable, no.
Why not probable?
I like Joe Burrow better than Dak Prescott. I like that offense overall a little better.
Yeah.
They were the number one, weren't they the number one passing offense last year?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. And I mean, both of these defenses are probably going to be bad. So they did bring in Matt, the Cowboys brought in Matt Eberflus for the defensive coordinator. He's a good defensive guy. So
Yeah.
they could be a little bit better. I don't see them running the ball well, though. And I think Cincinnati can run the ball a little better.
Yep. And to your other point there, Bengals defense is worse. So they were going to have to put up slightly more points than the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I just think at this point in the career, you'd much rather have Joe Burrow throwing. And I think T. Higgins is also a bigger guy, so he's got a higher probability of getting the red zone targets.
Yeah. Yep. But it is a tough division. They do have a very tough schedule this year. Everyone in this division has a pretty tough schedule. And, playing the Eagles and the Commandos twice in a year. I mean, those are four tough games. You're going to have
Yeah,
to
they're going
chuck
to
the
have to
ball
put
in
up
order
some
to win.
points to compete in those
Yep.
games. Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're pretty high on both those guys at
Yes, we are.
ADP. Yep, I
Yep.
would say. And Dak at ADP, we're pretty high on as well.
Yep.
Um,
Air it
but
out, Dallas. Just air it out, baby. Let's have some fun. Put
yep.
some points on the board for us.
All right, and then let's just talk about the other receivers here. Jalen Tolbert, projected as wide receiver 97. He finished last year as wide receiver 43. So he actually did perform somewhat last year in a bad offense.
Yeah. I mean,
His
that
current
performance was
ADP
what?
is 279. So depending on your league format, undrafted. Last year he had over 600 yards, 7 touchdowns. This year his projections are 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. So ESPN's really got him not performing as much in the offense. I'm assuming they're just giving all of this to George Pickens, is what I
Yeah.
would say. So I would probably also default to that. I mean, he's going to be a guy in the offense that, will have some production, but for fantasy, he probably will be too tough to own and roster in most formats. I would put my money on the top two guys in this offense eating first. If one of those guys gets injured, this could be a guy who could come in and could put up some points for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just to echo that, like last year, the one bright side last year, Tolbert, he played 76% of Dallas's offensive snaps in 2025. That number is going to go down. 80 targets, that number is going to go down substantially. 7 touchdowns, that number is probably going to go down as well. So I agree with you. I see a lot of regression here. There's not enough ball to go around to all of these cats. Plus, when we talk about Ferguson in there as well,
I agree.
there's just too many mouths to feed on this offense. Plus touchdown regression. He is a sell for me, and he's someone that is probably going to go undrafted or very late.
Yep. And then honorable mention, KaVontae Turpin. Pretty much a similar story. He's projected for actually 400 yards, so they got him a little higher. But otherwise, someone who's undrafted and barring an injury, you can't really roster him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Not much to be said about Turpin. I'm afraid Pickens has come and he's eating your meal for you. You're going to be
Yep.
on the
They will,
sidelines for
those
most of
guys
it.
will be involved in offensive plays and they will catch, you know what I mean? But for fantasy,
Yeah.
you don't want to roster. Jake Ferguson, tight end, last year finished as tight end 34. Projections this year are tight end 17. Current ADP 133. He missed 4 games, and he actually did not score a touchdown last year.
Yep.
So
This is
historically,
insane. He played a lot of games and it's 0 touchdowns. I think there was some record where he played a certain amount of snaps or certain amount of games and had 0 touchdowns. I think it was a record or something. It's an absolute insane stat to play that many games, catch that many balls, 59 catches and 0 tutties. That's insane.
I just think it speaks to how bad the offense overall was, not being able to move the ball well, get in the red zone. Otherwise, this guy over the last few years, he's been a guy that's been able to score in the red zone, and he's been a tight end that you've been able to roster in most formats and play. To me, when I see a 0 touchdown mark and a guy that was injured and a quarterback that was injured, this is where I see, okay, I would project a touchdown bounce next year. And if you can get him at a discount, I think that is fine on a roster. He's a guy for me. He is a late round tight end that I'm trying to get okay with as my weekly tight end guy, depending on how deep the league is, and PPR or not. He's a fringe guy that I'd be okay in my lineup most weeks as a tight end, assuming I didn't go out and pay for a McBride or somebody, real sexy.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you a bit here because I'm a huge buy on Ferguson for many reasons. I do not think he's a fringe guy. I think he's absolutely a startable tight end every single week, and for a couple of good reasons. First and foremost, Dak loves throwing to this guy. When him and Dak were both healthy last year, in weeks 1 through 8, his catches were 3, 6, 7, 6, 3, and 6. So as well averaging over 5 catches a game. On top of that, in weeks 3 through 5, he finished as a top tight end. Okay, so when you factor in, he's going to get at least 5 catches a game from Dak. A lot of eyes are going to be on the outside in terms of Ceedee and Pickens. This guy is going to have some single coverage, or he's going to be left alone sometimes because so much corner and safety attention is going elsewhere. I think this is a great value in all fantasy leagues and for all fantasy purposes. I can easily see him finishing as a top 10 tight end this year, which is way in front of his 17th projection overall. I like Ferguson a lot. Dak likes him a lot, and they have a lot of camaraderie and relationship together. This is a great pick to get, towards the back end or middle end of the draft for a great value of tight end.
Well, I'm glad you're even more bullish than I am because he's one of my dynasty tight ends. So thank you.
Look at that. I wish I would have known that beforehand. I would not have bought into him so hard there. I would have.
All right, we've talked him up quite a bit. I do think he's a good value tight end this year. So draft him late, and you got somebody that's got some upside, in my opinion, there. Running backs. Now, I would say this is the fantasy spot on the Cowboys that I am most bearish on. They went out.
If we could put a dark cloud over this podcast right now, it's coming over right now. Right now.
They went out and got Javonte Williams, Jaydon, and then drafted Jaydon Blue, and they also got Miles Sanders. Javonte Williams is projected to get most of the work here. Current projections are RB31. He finished last year as RB32 with Denver. Current ADP 106. That's very close. Yep. He's currently projected for 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. And he's a guy that came off an injury a season ago. Was it 2 seasons ago?
I think 2 years ago. Yep. Major knee injury. He has not looked the same since.
And he has not looked the same since. And I know that's very challenging to do, so I'm not hating the guy for it.
No, not at all. And
for fantasy, I would wanted to have seen a better performance last year in Denver to be more excited about it, because I don't think Dallas is going to be great at running the ball, and I don't think this guy is going to be the answer. Will he have some value? Yes. Am I probably staying away from him in this backfield completely? Probably. This is a backfield I'm probably just avoiding. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on it. It's a backfield I'm trying to avoid for the most part because there's no one clear guy here. Although Javonte, again, is going to be the majority shareholder, there's no one clear guy. And a lot of people are writing Javonte off since that knee injury. I'm going to say something. He's 25 years old. He's not dead yet, okay? He's not well past all life here. He's you know what I mean? It's like we're writing these kids off as if, they can never play ball again. He's still got life in him. He's still got potential. I know it's getting older for a running back. However, he's never had a 1,000-yard rushing season, which, that kind of kills you a little bit. Here's where the value is, folks. He has PPR value. Last year, he had 70 targets, which was 5th most among running backs. Okay, 52 catches for 346 receiving yards. And I get that's with a different offense, but nonetheless, he absolutely has reception and PPR value, and that's where I see him. If you're in a full point PPR league and you want to get him later in the drafts, that is where his value lies.
I disagree completely. I don't think Javonte Williams has the PPR value. But he did also, 2021, his rookie year, he did have over 1,200 yards, but he's never been able to repeat that performance since.
Yards total. I don't think that was rushing.
Okay, we'll stat check that. However, I don't think he's going to be that catch the ball. I think Blue and Miles Sanders are going to be the guy getting the receiving work in this offense. I think he's going to get more of the first and second down work, and I think you're just going to be disappointed, honestly. If I will say, if he went to an offense that had a better offensive line and a team that was a little better at just running the ball last couple of seasons, I'd be a little more higher on him. But in this offense, I just can't get there.
Okay. To confirm on the fact checking, since you called me out for it, his 2021 year, he had 900 rushing yards. So that was.
So he had 1,200 all purpose?
Correct.
And 900 rushing. Okay, so he's never had a 1,000-yard rushing season.
That
His
is
closest
correct.
when he was a rookie, and he had 900.
Yep, that is correct. Yeah, I mean, just echo that. Miles Sanders, I'm selling that all day. He is past his prime. I don't have any love for him there. Now, a little bit of a sleeper potential pick in Jaydon Blue. Yes, I see potential with it. Jaydon Blue is 5'9", 196 pounds. He's a very small type running back. However, for those saying, can that physique play in the NFL? Well, Devon Achane is 5'9", 188 pounds. So that physique can absolutely play in the NFL. They're both very similar in physicalness and in speed. Achane's a little bit faster. Blue had a 4.38 40, and Achane's was a 4.32. So obviously he's a little bit faster there. One thing that I do love about this guy, for him being a smaller guy, 3.83 yards after contact in college, which was definitely up there. That was one of the top for the running backs in college. So he packs a punch for a little fella, which I like. He's got good hands, PPR potential. Heaven forbid something happens to Miles Sanders or Javonte, I think his value then goes up quite a bit since he can do something in the receiving game. And if you're looking at these three running backs, here's my final point on it. Out of these three, I would be the one to bet on a very hungry rookie running back more than those other guys who have been beat up and been in the league for a little bit. And that's kind of my final point on it, where there's a little bit of value within that.
Yeah, if I'm going to take a shot on any of these guys at ADP, it would be Blue.
Yep.
That's how I feel about this offense. And if it's in PPR, I would even be a little higher on him because I think he's got a better shot at getting more receiving work than the rest of these guys. And he's just got a better chance at being a more explosive guy in the offense and the guy that makes some big plays, in my opinion.
Yeah, I picked him up in Dynasty because of that. And also the other two cats they signed, I'm pretty sure those other two guys are on one-year deals, which means they could easily be out the window as soon as next season, which means if Blue can have a year and at least, stay solid, it could be his backfield for the taking the following year. So
yeah,
Dynasty leagues, there's some tips there.
I think that's kind of Dallas's mindset here is they got these three guys, they're going to make them compete, and they're going to see who can play this year. And they got a couple of old guys, roughly, NFL running back age, old, wise, 25, which you wouldn't think would be that old. But they got some guys here, and they want to breed some competition. They got a couple of one-year rentals, and they're going to see who wants it, is kind of how I'm looking at it.
The rookie's going to want
it. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, there is a world where one of those guys does outperform this ADP. I see that happening. But I can't predict which one it is, and I don't want to take a shot on it in an offense. I don't think there's going to be a lot of rushing points to begin with.
Correct. It's a passing offense, and that is why we sold the passing players and receivers.
Yep. All right.
Take it away.
Okay, let's get into their free agency here. The big one is George Pickens, acquired with a trade from the Steelers. Big move. Steelers wide receiver 1. And comes into Dallas behind Ceedee Lamb, like we talked about. A lot of firepower with these two guys, which we're most highest on for fantasy. And then they signed Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams. Each we're not as excited about for fantasy. They'll probably be somewhat decent in the offense, we hope. Jury's kind of still out on that for the Cowboys. They were very bad at running the ball last
year. So I guess
year.
we don't hope that much because we're not going to be owning a lot of them. So
that's true.
If they don't, that's fine too.
That's true. They also got Joe Milton from New England, backup quarterback, receiver Paris Campbell, two offensive guards, wide receiver KaVontae Turpin, we touched on. Currently on the depth chart as wide receiver four, we believe. Be in the offense, but you don't want him for fantasy. And then another guard they re-signed, Brock Hoffman. Notable departure, Zach Martin, guard, backup quarterback Trey Lance, wide receiver Brandon Cooks, backup quarterback Cooper Rush, running back Rico Dowdle, and running back Mike Davis. All are not there anymore. And then a big one on the defense, DeMarcus Lawrence. I just want to mention that. Otherwise, I didn't touch on anything defensively. Adam, rookie picks?
Yes, sir. They had a lot of them. They addressed the interior of their offensive line first and foremost, and Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama. That is what they needed to do. Their offensive line was beyond shaky last year and not good. And with Dak being a little bit older, they need to protect him. They also got another tackle in the 6th round. So they got 2 offensive linemen within this draft. And obviously, we know about Jaydon Blue in the 5th round. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, they really went defensive heavy. 2nd round edge rusher, 3rd round quarterback, 5th round linebacker, 7th round D tackle, 7th round D tackle. Their defense fell apart last year. And 2 years prior, it was one of the best defenses in the NFL with Micah Parsons running around out there just scaring the crap out of every quarterback who's ever played that position. So they need to get back to that. And I think with these picks, it's going to help them a little bit. But this defense is far removed from where they used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn, but as soon as Dan Quinn left, I knew Dan Quinn was a lot of the reason that defense was so good.
Yeah, and it showed. I think Mika was down a couple of games too, which is a huge impact.
He was, yes, Micah Parsons. Coaching, Brian Schottenheimer has been promoted to the new head coach. Mike McCarthy says farewell after last season and all that drama. There's a lot of shakeups on the coaching side of the ball here. The offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, is promoted to head coach. They hired Clayton Adams to replace him in the offensive coordinator role. He comes from the Arizona Cardinals. They've been a little bit more of a physical run the ball team in years past with James Conner, et cetera. So it looks like they want to try and work on that a bit. They need it. Past game specialist Ken Dorsey was brought over from Buffalo, and then also a wide receiver coach and a new offensive line coach. So a lot of coaching changes here.
New future for Dallas within the organization, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And then also I mentioned they brought over Matt Eberflus on the defensive side of the ball. Adam, O-line.
Yep. Only I'll say is see you later, Mike McCarthy. Best luck on your future endeavors. All right. Offensive line finished last year 20th overall. So essentially the bottom third of the league, you guys, which is not good. And I have news for you. I don't see it getting much better. Why? Their legendary Zach Martin retired. And I know they drafted a first rounder with their first pick. Does he immediately fill the shoes of Zach Martin? Absolutely not. And outside of that, they didn't make enough changes to this offensive line for me to say it got better. So that scares me for the rushing attack, especially, and a little bit for Dak's sake. Tyler Guyton has a lot to prove at left tackle. Left to right, we are talking Tyler Guyton, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, right guard Tyler Booker, and then right tackle Terrence Steele. This line was sketchy last year. They did not do enough to fix it. This is a big worry I have for this team and for some of these fantasy players. I think this is why they're going to have to air it out a lot and keep an extra running back in to help block because, boy, are they going to need it against some of those D linemen out there.
Yeah, the only thing that I could see helping is a new offensive line coach. Just to shake things up. Maybe he's got something that's better than what's been happening there.
Okay.
Any other final fantasy thoughts?
Nope. Dallas, good luck this year. Air it out. Make those wide receivers healthy. Last thing I'll say is next week, we're going to Seattle, baby.
Bring your ponchos. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys in the next one.